Hello everyone, you're welcome to Vap Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, I'll be sharing with you all how to make two types of flare. On this outfit, we have two types of flare. On the sleeve, we have a high-low flare. One side of the flare is high while the other side is lower, okay? And then on the waistline, we have a pleated flare, which is also referred to as a pleated peplum. So in this video, I'll be showing us how to achieve these two types of flare. You can see this outfit we have right here. It's a beautiful outfit. In my previous video, I showed us how to achieve the upper part, which is an armhole princess bustier with underbust corset. The video is right on my channel and I'm going to be dropping the link in the description box. So just in case you haven't seen this video, you can just check through the description box or the comment section and you'll find the link to the video there. Okay. And also I made a detailed video on how to achieve this beading technique I have on this outfit, and it is called a twisted beading technique. The video is also up on my channel. I promised us I was going to make a detailed video. I was going to show us in details how I achieved this beautiful skirt and blouse. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I achieved the two flares. So in my next video, I'm going to be showing us the collar, which is also a mandarin collar or a bishop collar. And then my next video is going to be on the pencil skirt with pleated vent. So if this is something you're interested in learning and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure that you put on your notification bell so you always receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And also feel free to share this video, like this video, leave your questions in the comment section. If you have any questions, I'll be there to answer you. Thank you so much and let's get right into the video. So to make a 360 pleated peplum, first you need to get the radius of the circle. A flare is a circle, which is a peplum, okay? And we're making a 360 flare. So, and the waist circumference we're making this peplum for is 34 inches. So, like I already said, that the waist is 34 inches. So, to determine the pleats, because we're going to have pleats on the darts. We're going to have pleats on the darts in front. That's two pleats in front, one facing the left and one facing the right. So that's two on one side, two on one side. So that means we have four pleats in front. I will also have four pleats at the back. So you determine the folds, that's the tucks of the pleat. Okay? So if each of the pleats is going to be 2 inches, so that means we're going to have 2 inches times 2 in each of them, because it's going to pleat. When we are pleating, we fold like this. Can you see? Can you see? So the one under, this one and the second one under is what I'm calculating, not the one on top. The one on top is already part of this 34 inches, which is the actual waist measurement. So I've said that the pleat is going to be 2 inches. So 2 inches down, 2 inches up. So that's 4 inches. So we're going to have this pleat in 8 places, okay? So now we're going to say 4 times 8. 4 times 8, that's 32 inches. So 32 inches is the amount of pleats, the inches we need for our pleat, okay? And then plus the actual waist measurement. So I'm going to say the actual waist measurement plus 32 inches, which is 34. So, and that gave me a total of 66 inches. So the waist circumference we are working with right now is 66 inches because we are going to be pleating them. So now that we know the waist circumference, the next thing I'm going to calculate is the length of the flare. So to get the length of the flare, you need to subtract your half length. And this is a blouse we are making. The half length of this person is 18.5. So 18.5 minus the full length of the blouse, which is 26 inches. So that's 7.5. So the length of the peplum is going to be 7.5. Then plus 1 inch, because we need 1 inch we're going to be using half inch to join the upper part and half inch to turn the down part. So that's plus 1 inch. So that will give us 8.5. So the length of our peplum is 8.5. So length equal to 8.5. So we're going to calculate the radius now that we have the length. So the radius, remember that the new waist measurement we are working with is 66. So we'll say 66 divided by 6.28, and that will give us 10.5. That's 10.50. So that's 10.50. So 10.5, radius is now 10.5. Can you see that? So now we have the radius and we also have the length of the flare. So we're going to say 10.5 plus 8.5. That's which is the length of the flare, and that gave me 19 inches. Okay, 19.0, so which is 19 inches. So I'm going to fold 19 inches to be able to achieve this 360 pleated peplum. So I'll go ahead and fold 19 inches in 4 places. That's into 4. So on fold, I have 19 inches. You can see it is on fold already. So I'm going to fold into 4 now. So to fold into 4, I'm just going to measure the same 19 inches. So here is our 19 inches, can you see? So I'll fold it into 4 like this. So the idea is to have 19 inches in 4 places. So I'll go ahead and confirm if I have up to 19 inches. So that's it. I have up to 19 inches. You can as well cut it out if you want to, but I'll just be leaving it this way. So having folded my fabric into 4, can you see that this part that has all the folded parts, can you see this is the apex here? So from this part, I'm going to measure this 10.5 inches, which is our radius. So I'll measure 10.5. 10.5, 10.5, 10.5. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. So from this 10.5, I'll go ahead and measure the length of the flare. So the length of the flare, including my stitching allowance, is 8.5. So I'm going to mark that 8.5. Okay, so this is 8.5. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. And you see? So now I'll go ahead and cut out the flare. So I'm cutting out the radius first. This is what our peplum looks like. Can you see? So this part, you'll notice that all the 4 parts are folded here, but you can see we can separate this side. So the side that has 2, I'm just going to slash 1 open. So this part I'm slashing open will serve as the center back, and this will serve as the center front. So you can see how wide our peplum is, so that by the time we pleat it, we'll have it gathered together. That's, we'll pleat it to the waist measurement of 34 inches. You will notice that I didn't add zip allowance to this measurement while trying to cut. This formula has a way of giving us our zip allowance. So let me prove to you that it has given me my zip allowance. So take note that my fabric is on fold and I'm measuring. Can you see? So here is what we have. Can you see that we have 34.5? Remember that the waist circumference we were working with is 66 inches and this fabric is on fold. So 66 divided by 2 is 33 inches. So at this 33 we already have our 66 inches. You can see that I have 34.5. So that means I have extra 1.5 inches for my zip allowance, okay? For the zipper allowance. So there is really no need adding zipper allowance when using this formula. So I'm going to place this lining on my fabric and cut out exactly what I have here on the fabric, okay? And then I'll show us the next thing to do. Okay, so I'm done cutting the main fabric. I'll also go ahead and slash one of them just like I did for the lining. And then I'm going to mark the wrong side. So we're going to be stitching crinoline to the lining. So the lining is the part we're going to be stitching crinoline. First, I'm going to use bias to tape, that's to stitch this part. Just to stitch, you can see this is plastic. Can you see how it's pouring? So this can poke the skin. So I'm going to stitch my bias here to cover up this part. So you can use bias or masking tape, but I'll be using bias to stitch it. Then I'm going to place the crinoline and stitch it. Can you see that I'm shifting ½ inch away from the hem? Don't place it exactly here. Place it ½ inch away from the hem, and then I'm going to stitch it round like this. Don't pull on it. Don't pull on it so that you don't stretch it out. The idea is to achieve the wavy effect. So I'm going to stitch it round the hem all the way to the other side, and then I will show us the next thing to do. You see, I'm done stitching the peplum on the down part. So after stitching, I went ahead to press the upper part. And you see, I pressed on some sides, I added hemming gum. Can you see that this side is glued? So I added hemming gum, just strategically, not all round. This is so that it helps to keep our crinoline flat. Can you see? So I'll take this to my sewing machine back and then stitch here. So when you press your crinoline, just has a way of giving it that very relaxed look, so that when you are stitching the second stitch, everything will relax very well. So I'll take this to my machine and stitch around to this point. And as you can see, I use bias to tape the two edges. Then after doing that, I'm going to place the lining, the right side of the lining facing right side of the Ankara, and then I'm going to stitch. Can you see? So I'm going to stitch. So I'll be stitching on that ½ inch, on this ½ inch now that is remaining here. I'm going to stitch on it all the way round to the other side, and I'll also turn this side, and I'll come back and show us what we have. Okay, so after stitching the peplum, I turned it to the right side and I stitched close the waistline and also gave it a good press. So now the next thing to do is to stitch it to the upper bodice. And this is our upper bodice. As you can see, I have joined the back and the front together and I've shaped it. So I'm going ahead to notch the center front. This is so that our pleats can be even. And I'll also notch the center front of the peplum. So you can see our peplum, I stitched the waistline. As I stitched the lining and fabric together so that they are one piece, okay? So I haven't done that. Next, I'm going to pleat this peplum. Remember, we have already calculated our peplum. That's the tucks that we're going to have, the pleats. And I told us we'll be pleating only on the dart areas. So for each of the pleats, both the left side and the right side of the pleat is going to be 8 inches. Remember, we're going to be pleating 2 inches for each of the pleats, okay? So here I've pinned the center front, and then this is where I'm going to have the first
pleat, I'm going ahead to notch that point. I'll also do the same thing on the other side. So I'm pleating on the dart point, on our dart point. That's the nipple to nipple point, okay? So that's it. So I'm going ahead to pleat the peplum now. So I'm pleating backwards first. And you see, I'm just using 2 inches, which is what I already calculated. So that is why it is very important for you to calculate. So each of the pleats, I'm going to have 2 inches tucked in. So my tucks is just going to be 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and do that on all the dart areas. So while pleating, I'm making sure that the pleats align with the dart points. Okay, so I'm making sure it aligns with the dart so that they are even. And then I'm also confirming the pleats to make sure I'm using 2 inches so that one pleat is not bigger than the other. And this is what we have after pleating. So the next thing we're going to do now is to draft our high-low flare.
Okay. So for our high-low flared sleeve that we're making, first you need the sleeve measurement. The sleeve measurement we're working with is 24 inches. That's the entire length of the sleeve from the shoulder to around just below the wrist, and that's 24 inches. So 24 inches is the length. We're going to have a basic sleeve attached to this flare. So the length of the basic sleeve is 13 inches. So I'll say minus 13, not divided, minus 13, please. Minus 13, so that will give us 11 inches. So the length of the flare we're looking for is 11 inches. So the next thing we're going to do is to calculate the radius of the flare. So to calculate the radius of the flare, you will need the round elbow measurement, which is the point where the flare is going to be attached. So, and the round elbow measurement I'm working with is 12 inches. So I will divide 12 inches by 6.28, and that will give me 1.9. So 1.9, I can just approximate it to 2 inches, or you can use your 1.9. So that is the radius. So radius equal to 1.9. Okay, then the length of the flare is 11 inches. We also need the hemming allowance. That's the allowance for hemming the flare and for joining the flare. So that's plus 1. So that's plus 1, rather, that's half inch. So that will give me 12 inches. Okay, so the length of the flare is 12 inches plus 1.9. So that will now give us 13.9 inches. So you can approximate it to 14 inches. Okay, so having gotten this measurement, so here my fabric is on fold. You can see it's folded into 2, and then I folded into 4. So this way I have 14 inches. And this way I also have 14 inches. So now this is what you need to take note of. This flare that I'm going to be attaching to this sleeve is not going to have any joining. It's just going to be a complete circle. So you want this flare to fit very well on the elbow so that it doesn't give you any extra that you will pleat. So this is what I'm going to do to avoid that pleat. Remember, I've already gotten the radius and it is 1.9 inches. I'm going to be reducing this radius by half inch. Okay, so I've already approximated at 1.9 to 2 inches. So when I reduce 2 inches by half inch, that will give me 1.5. So I'm going to be using this 1.5 inches as my new radius. This is so that the sleeve fits well and we don't have to pleat. Because using this 6.28 formula, it has a way of giving you extra. Okay, so that it doesn't give us extra that will give us our sewing allowance, or it will assume that it's zip allowance. So please reduce it so that it fits. But if you want to join the flare, you don't have to reduce it. For me, I'm not going to be joining the flare. Okay, so from this folded part, you can see from the apex here where I have all the folded parts joined together, I'm going to mark 1.5 1.5 this way, 1.5. Can you see? So let's go ahead and confirm this 1.5 I have here. And you see that while taking my measurement, placing my tape this way, I have 3 inches. I hope we can see it. Just watch carefully. Can you see? I have exactly 3 inches. And I said that the round elbow measurement I'm working with is 12 inches. And my fabric is folded into 4. So 3 times 4, that is 12 inches. You can see it gave me the exact measurement. So if I had used this 1.9, it's going to give me extra that will give me my sewing allowance. But we don't need that sewing allowance. I hope we understand that. So next I'm going to measure the length of the flare. So the length of the flare is 12 inches. So I'll place my tape and mark 12 inches from the radius. So 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. Can you see? So this is at 12 inches. So I will go ahead and cut it out. So this is the length of our flare. Can you see? But remember that we're making a high-low flare. So meaning we want one side to be higher than the other. They are not supposed to be equal. So to achieve that high-low flare effect, you can see that this is our radius and we didn't cut it out. So now let's open up like this. Can you see that this is the folded part? So I'm going to increase this part. Can you see? I'm going to increase this part. I want this part to be shorter and then the other side to be longer. So to do that, I'm going to fold this. That's from this part. I'm going to come out by about 4 inches like this. So this is 4 inches from the folded part. Can you see? So this is making our peplum now longer. Take note of what I did. From the folded part, I came down by 4 inches. So this automatically has increased the length of our flare by 8 inches. Because this 4 inches that is here, it will also appear at the back. So you can see what it has done to the flare. So it has increased it by 8 inches. So whatever you do, if you increase it by 5, that means it will give you extra 10 inches. If you increase it by 3, to give you extra 6 inches. Okay? So that's that for this. So now we now have our flare high-low. Then next I'm going to now measure that same 5.5 inches. Then 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and measure the same 1.5 inches, which is now our radius. Can you see? So now this is it. So we'll cut it out. Can you see? So this is what our flare looks like. So we'll have this side, and see, so we have this side coming down like this. It's longer. Can you see that? So there is no need slashing this flare open, so that it just opens up fine like this. Everything is full. So now you need to identify the part that is your center front, because when we are doing our sleeve, this is our side here and this is the center. Okay, so you can go ahead and notch this side, but it's very obvious. Okay, just notch this side a little so that indicate that this is your front. So you have one side of your flare coming down. You can see what we have. So I'll place this on my velvet fabric and cut the main fabric and also cut the lining, and then I'll show us the next thing to do, the flare. So now this is what I'm going to do. This is our main fabric, which is a velvet fabric, and this is our lining. So I'll place the flare right side of the velvet facing the lining. Can you see? And then this is it. I'm going to secure this with my pin. I'll secure it round. So as you can see, I've pinned it round. So now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch. While stitching, I'm going to place my hemming gum. And you see, I'll be stitching on 1/2 inch round like this. So while stitching, I'll be stitching alongside with my hemming gum. So this will just make your work easier. So if you finish stitching before placing the hemming gum, you have to be struggling to fix it inside. But when you stitch with the hemming gum round, just stitch alongside while placing your hemming gum and then stitch on it. It will be easy for you, so that when you are done, you turn it out from this opening, that's from the radius here, and then give it a good press. So this way automatically to just seal up this part and it will stay really flat. Okay, so I'll go do that and come back and show us. Okay, so I'm done stitching the flare around. As you can see, I placed my hemming gum. So now the next thing to do is to turn it inside out. So stitching your hemming gum makes it easier for you, okay? So now the next thing to do is to turn it inside out. And give it a very good press. So just like I pressed this one, let me show us the one I've pressed already. And you see, I've pressed this one. So this will, the hemming gum that I've placed in between is going to help keep this place intact. And you see how flat this side is. So it will help keep it in place. So here, now I'm going to bring out my lining this way. So as I'm going to now stitch the lining around. So whatever excess that comes out like this, can you see that as it is, this is what I have. So if any excess I have, I'm just going to trim it out. So but I'm going to have to stitch this hole round. So the little excesses will come out because of the way we have already ironed this. You can see. So this is what our flare is going to look like. So
Okay, so we have come to the end of this video. I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share this video, and do not hesitate to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure that you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.